bam, zippity bop boo, zippity bop ba da ba. Hey everybody, welcome back to Karandrin Role Playing. My name is Kevin Manus Pennings, also known as Cracked Palantir, and I'll be your host and game master for this episode 170, Brise's Tale. And as always, my good buddy Max is here to play Brise, the lovely and talented paladin. Max, why don't you say hello to the lovely people?
How do you do?
That's fantastic.
Welcome, everybody.
That is fantastic. So we're sort of in a kind of a lull in the story, but we're still getting information in and getting tasks achieved. You're recovering from fleeing the hold of the giants, controlled by a giantess named Lady Crom. That was very harrowing and very stressful and damn dangerous. And so you're back at Lady Miagraw's keep, the goblin noblewoman that you work for, and you're sort of relaxing, catching your breath, and tying up loose ends here and there with other irons you have in the fire. Karandrin is a very organic game, and so the world moves, and you get inquiries out, and all these other things going on beyond just a single quest. We are late afternoon of the day. You've just finished a conversation with Fraudrum.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you give us a brief rundown of the major topics you covered there?
Yeah, so we talked about they spotted a creature called the Eshel in the valley, a couple of valleys away from the keep. Although it sounds like learned a little bit about what kind of creature it is, and that it shouldn't be of any harm to us. In fact, that definitely a creature that we could potentially deal with if it did threaten us. So learned a little bit about that, and talked about the giants. Like we said, what I learned from overhearing the conversations with Lady Crom's patrols. Talking a little bit about, could we pit the two tribes of giants against each other that recently they seem to have formed an alliance, but that doesn't mean they can be persuaded otherwise. And we also mentioned the Uthnorn, the kind of spirit creature associated with the nine-fingered candle, this dark magic.
Fake creature, not spirit creature.
Well, right, but we discovered that it's a fake creature.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
and,
I see, yeah.
And discovered that it's many fake creatures and that are called Uthnorn themselves. And learned a little bit about that. We're kind of out of our element here. We don't have anyone who knows about Fey magic here at the keep or in Balabry. So what we really need to do is find someone in Pleston, the city to the north of here, where we think there's a population of Uthnorn. Find a contact there who could guide us to what we could do to cure these corrupted Uthnorn. And we still need to find the artifact itself. So,
because it was used. I mean, the nine-fingered candle was used to destroy a whole population of a city.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently the corrupted Uthnorn just come out as a cloud and just descend upon a populace and just slaughter them.
Slaughter them with many tiny sword strokes.
Yeah, death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
And you've also got a couple of irons in the fire in the town near the keep, Balabry. You've got to discuss a task with an agent proposed to you by an agent who works for Oshekra. And you had one other, didn't you? You had one other.
Yeah, there's a
Oh,
Ivar who's
right.
working for Ordia. Was a name that we hadn't heard for a few weeks, but she is someone we drove out of town. She was allied or borrowing powers from a demon lord, and we seem to have driven her out of town, but she seems to have made a reappearance. Her staff has been spotted around town and asking questions about me. So we do have something we're looking out for that, right? Just seeing what kind of movement there is, why they're asking information about me.
And we assumed that most of the staff was either, ran for the hills after the temple descended upon Ordia's mansion, Ordia being a goblin merchant woman,
Mm-hmm.
a barrel maker, a major barrel maker in the area. And so we assumed that the majority of her staff has just been dissipated or arrested.
Right.
But apparently there are a few agents still under her employ, and they've been asking questions about you, and they're spinning a story. One of the agents is spinning a story to you about wanting to know more about Lady Miagral. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Ivar is his name. He poses as a gem dealer, and really he's interested in my comings and goings, my what I'm doing at the keep, and at least that's what he's supposed to report to his superior. We know is part of Lady Ordia's staff. So
Right. So yeah, so you've got a couple of things going on. Frowdrum is going to send one of her apprentices to meet with Ivar,
yes,
right?
she
And
said she would maybe even hire adventurers to do the tracking and find out, go up the chain and see who and where he's reporting to.
right. Um, um, so that's something that Frowdrum and you agreed to just a moment ago
Mm-hmm.
in game time, and so hopefully you can get Ivar nailed down and find out who he's reporting to and who that person reports to, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it leads to Ordia. Um, Although, I mean, it's an interesting question. If, let's say, it does lead to Ordia, what's to be done? That's not something you and Frowdrum really covered.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, at least we'll know where she's operating from and maybe the scope of what she's planning, whether she's made contact with another demon lord or is this just her trying to, get maybe petty vengeance. Either
well,
way, it's dangerous for me, but
yeah. Yeah. I mean, it certainly sounds like it's going to be she and Crowlum plotting against you,
hmm,
because they're interested specifically in you. Um, and there's little you have to offer them other than the satisfaction of revenge,
yeah,
since getting Kralum expelled from and banished from this realm. And now one of his tenuous holds into this realm is working through Ordia. I guess one point of information you might find is what sort of resources Ordia still has at her beck and call. Like if you find her in a hovel, you know, with some finery around, then she's just making do and scraping by.
yeah,
If you find her in some finer establishment, like a significant house or mansion, something like that, then she's either set aside that resource or she's got an ally that now needs to be watched. So I guess there is something to be gained by tracking it all the way back to Ordia
yeah.
before you have a plan necessarily in place. So, all right. So we're late afternoon. Frowdrum has just left. You're still sort of just taking it easy and so on. And, we'll sort of assume that you nap here and throughout the day and sort of gorge yourself on wine and brandy and, uh,
And
and
talk with Sheer Call across the hall or
right.
a druid friend we made.
Right. So yeah, sure called being a lizard folk, female lizard folk from southern nation of Sithis, and you encountered her on the mountain of the giants. She was trying to rescue a family of goblins that she believed was being enslaved um, by the uh, by the giants to work in their mines.
Mhm.
Um, so um,
Should say something else we learned last session is we know that Holver is going by a pseudonym called Forbin, the High Man Necromancer, operating out of Pelka with Volshad as his partner in crime. So we can look for some information on that name to see where he's used that. Maybe find out some of his other connections.
and Pleston would be a good place to start for that inquiry as well. As
Yeah.
he's posing as an elven lord named Lord Forbin, and so Pleston is the nearest major elven city,
Mm-hmm.
which is, by the way, not to the north. It's to the west.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, sort of west northwest.
Look at this map here. Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, you're right. Narga is right there. The Elven states would be directly to the west. I don't know why I was thinking north.
Um, so so yeah, that might be a good place to drop that name and see what's going on. And maybe we should rewind and just sort of retro game a bit and say that um, maybe you ask Fraldrum's apprentice who's going to Pleston to ask for any word on a noble named Lord Forbin. So why don't you make that note? Because I think that would occur to you both, and we just skipped it.
Yeah. So I'll just in our conversation with the Fraldrum, we'll say, and also not only to find a fake contact in Pleston, but to ask around about who Lord Forbin is,
right?
What connections he has. Okay.
Get your sheet out. All righty then. So what's next on your list in terms of still being able just to relax, and what sort of little tasks can you accomplish that's on your list there?
Yeah, so we got a one thing at the library in here in the keep. I believe there should be a book on the Great Sky Rings,
Okay.
which was a kind of weapon artifact I had been researching on behalf of a halfling adventurer who was also interested in this information, and I kind of wanted to do my own research ahead of him to find out, is this something that shouldn't fall in the wrong hands?
Right.
So I have here a note that I've asked the librarian Babal to find such a book. She said she thinks one existed, so we will go to the library and see if she has found such a book.
Check on Bayval as a character in here.
Bayval. Yeah, I asked her on the 16th, so it's been 5 days.
Spell her name.
Beyvall.
Okay, I don't have her in here. I will make her one.
It says here she's 15 feet tall. She's a halfling, and she really likes snails.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know if she's the chief librarian or not?
I don't know if she's the chief librarian.
Okay.
I don't think she is. Let me check my other notes.
But Goblin.
Yeah.
All right. Don't mean to drag us down.
Yeah, I think she is just one of the librarians.
Okay. That's correct. All righty. So weird. One of the things I roll for NPCs in my little automatic roller that my good buddy Josh made us is goals. And so I have like 5 categories of goals, like what's important to the person.
Mm-hmm.
So comfort, power, safety, social acceptance, and wealth are the 5 categories. And we could add others, obviously. But she is not highly interested in any of those.
An aimless individual.
An aimless individual. That's right. So,
did you get that book? I've been working on it. Been busy.
That's why she's a librarian. She needs other people's goals to give her any meaning in her life. She's just like, yeah, I don't care about a book, but apparently,
what do you say? Personal wealth? Is that one of them?
Yeah, wealth. Yeah.
Is that like monetary, or could that also be like, information or because it makes sense for a librarian to be like, oh, I just want to learn about things. And
that's interesting. Yeah, I could do something like personal achievement in there. I could also do glory. Honestly,
that's a good one. Yeah.
Maybe I'll look into modifying that. I hear thunder. Scary.
Yeah. No, it's bright and sunny outside.
We're all gonna die. So it's the end times. Wow. She is. Huh. Interesting. So she you head that way. She is at work. She is on duty. She admits, sort of embarrassedly, that she's not had a chance to look for it, but she'll turn her attention to it now if you'll just give her a moment. It may take her a few minutes, but she'll track it down. So you sort of spend your time. There is just sort of relaxing and watching people go by. There is a non-local. Interesting. There is a adventurer in the stacks as well. Let's see what we can find out about this person. Roll for me.
41. This keep ain't big enough for the two of us.
Exactly.
What is it? Keep?
Dwarf with a male dwarf. Where's the age? Some age. Handsome, very well kempt. Tall for his people. Blonde hair with some gray in it. Um, he wears robes that seem to be trimmed in little rectangular panels of wood.
Hmm.
Um, he notes your presence and approaches and let's see what's his gives you a deep bow. Um, speaks to you in facts. Um, introduces himself as Helios, Helios. Um, he says, I do not mean to intrude, but I have recently been employed here um, as an agent for Lady Meagrol. I report to Athene. You, I believe you are Brise. Many
I
people.
believe I'm here to replace you.
That's right. You are out. You're out.
Yeah, they replaced me with a handsome dwarf. Damn it.
Exactly.
I say, yes, I am.
I was wondering if there's any advice you might give me in this new arrangement.
Hmm. And so taking a look at him, well, I guess you see as an adventurer, right? But
Yes.
um,
Certainly looks the part.
yeah,
Robes.
I don't want to assume he's going to be in the same. I guess. How do we describe my role again? Right, I'm just kind of how do you describe like what I am in terms of employment to me? We're all just
Yeah, you
servants
might just
of.
call yourself an agent, or you may just leave it very vague, depending on who you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll say that to him that it's it's um, as an agent of Mirgal, it's I've done quite a variety of different things. Some involving research, some involving espionage, um, some involving some traveling abroad. It could be kind of be ready for anything is what I would advise.
He leans forward and says, I'm generally loath to work with goblins, but my circumstances do not permit me much choice in the matter.
Hmm.
Athene seems a good sort. Do you find her trustworthy?
I say Athene is very good. Um, would definitely trust her, and Miagral is a just lord as well.
I messed up. I think here. Oh Lord. She says, even though she is goblin.
Yes.
Uh,
What seems to be your holdup about goblins?
well, you have no question about that
Oh,
because he's a dwarf. So, um,
well, I guess I'll say instead. Then it's like spend a little time with him, and I'm sure you'll learn to appreciate instead of loathe, as you say, their company.
Are we permitted to discuss our tasks with one another?
I would ask Lady Athene that. It might depend on circumstances, especially if any, if a certain mission, right, requires utmost secrecy, any other person involved could be a risk. So I'd always ask before.
Well, then let me ask in a general way about something regarding what I've been tasked to do. Um, what can you tell me about Mugral's relationship with the Pen clans, the desert nation to the east?
What can I tell him? I know she is friends with another lord who is bordering the Pen clans, but I don't think I've ever heard her speak directly of any policies or anything regarding the Pen peoples.
Right.
Is that right, or am I forgetting something obvious?
No, I think you're. Yeah, I don't think there's been anything direct. Like there's been no, because she's a little far removed from them to be
right geographically.
Yeah. So,
so yeah, just tell him honestly. I say I have never really heard her take a stance on it. I think we're a little far away from their borders to have much impact.
what do you know of a lord named Lord Hestus?
I like to imagine this guy like he starts everything like, "What do you know?
Right.
Is this okay?" Yeah, I'll tell him straightforward what I know. That oh gosh, now I need to find my notes on Hestus. Oh, I do know that more agents of Hestus are crossing into Nargos. That's interesting. I know that Hestus is a wealthy and powerful lord. He is a war maker on his side of the river, and his county is rich in producing gems, gold, silver, and wool. And he is an openly denounces magic. Thinks it is not a worthwhile art.
That would explain a lot. Why don't you roll your gut feeling for him? We sort of skipped over that.
Skipped over that. 82.
Sort of an average soul. You don't really feel a bad vibe from him. He's clearly he takes courtesy very seriously.
Right.
He's very well maintained. Sort of probably fastidious in some of his dealings. Clearly, and not surprisingly, dislikes the goblins. You're certainly curious as to why he's, what his circumstances have dumped him in this
I just told them like, yeah, we should keep, our assignment secret. But I'm like, could you tell me what they asked you to find?
Right. Although, it kind of doesn't matter in a sense because you know that it's, um, if it's going to deal with Hestus, it's going to be to your benefit.
Yes.
So you're glad that there's sort of somebody is working toward that aim of getting more information from that quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be nice to be able to hear his reports directly, but I guess
Right.
indirectly will work as well.
Right.
Um,
I have a little more information here. I'll tell him.
yeah.
Lady Kieran told me this information that Hestus is interested in has a claim to the Lake Triumphs. Is interested in that. He's also has 3 daughters with no heir yet, or no 3 unwedded daughters and no heir. It's a fairly public issue that he's been trying to deal with.
Mm-hmm. You get a sense, to your relief, that this guy, I mean, he could have lied to you about his mission or anything else, but he's clearly just very uncomfortable with lying. And so he sort of just avoids bringing up anything he has to lie about.
Right. So I ask him, is the nature of your mission just seeking information on Hestus, or is it something more actionable?
Roll for me.
56.
He says, I'm uncomfortable discussing that.
Okay.
I will say that I am not to take any action, but merely report.
Well, then I wish you good luck. I ask him if him being in the library is related to his mission as well.
What's he says yes. I don't feel like that is telling too much. I am just seeking maps and of
Okay.
the Penn clans, but also trying to get some Penn clan history in terms of genealogy and which nobles are related to Lord Hestus. I am supposedly, let's just say, a traveler who is supposed to be well versed in the western part of the Penn clans, and it'll be a couple of weeks of study before I will feel comfortable in that role. He thanks you for your time, gives you another deep bow, and wishes you luck and safety and all of your travels. And he turns again into the stacks, and off he goes.
Mm-hmm.
Some minutes later, Bayval does return with a book open to a particular page. She apologizes again for taking so long with this task. And shows you the text. It's written in an older form of fax, but still readable.
Mm-hmm.
She tells you if you need any help, there are certainly some in the library who could help you with any difficult passages or anything if the language is beyond you. But there is a lengthy reference to this, to these the Great Sky Rings, but there's also, and she tells you that the text itself is the journal of a lieutenant, a human lieutenant from Thax, from Theaxia, or that region.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually is an account from his grandfather discussing the Great Sky Rings.
Account from the lieutenant's grandfather?
Yes, it's the lieutenant relaying a story from his grandfather regarding the Great Sky Rings.
Gotcha. I used to set those babies spinning for hours.
That's right. Turns out they're like 2 inches across. They were a toy, and it's all been misconstrued.
It was a war machine for dealing with ants.
That's right. Obviously,
dealing with Faye.
That's right. It was the anti-Uthnorn. So you set those flying amongst the cloud of flying Uthnorn, and you just let it slaughter them mercilessly. So it's that, and what was it called? What was that thing called? A bug light? What was the thing called where you hang it up and it would attract the bugs and they would get electrocuted?
Yeah. I think there's a couple names, or like
right?
Like
what was it called?
Bug snapper.
Yeah. So so she's like, you're already listed as the loaner of the book. You're welcome to take it to your quarters if you want.
All right.
Although the passage, she shows you it's a handful of pages, so you probably could just read it here and now.
Yeah, I got time. We can do that. If she's available, I'll also ask her about, learned a little bit about what the Uthnorn is. They're actually a type of Fae. Because I had asked her about Uthnorn before, and she had no idea. And so I asked her again. And if you know about anything about Fae corruption or uncorruption,
see what I knew it was a good idea to roll skills for NPCs. Just very broad skills like magic lore, creature lore, things like that. And it's really helpful because that gives me a ballpark bonus to assign or subtraction for rolls. No, the closest thing, she knows about sort of the corruption of the living being are, of course, the undead.
Yeah.
Technically, I guess she would say, demonic possession would fall under that umbrella as well. But she doesn't know of anything beyond that type of corruption. And her knowledge of Fae is very limited.
Okay. Well, thank you anyway. I'll be here in this corner reading this book.
That's right. So
just peruse the pages, see what I can learn on the Great Sky Rings.
Yeah, so it's an hour or so of reading. And it details a story from the grandfather being in charge of a group of patrols patrolling an area, clearing a facility, really, in the woods. They were never allowed inside this sort of walled facility. They had the barracks outside. There was repeated concerns expressed to the grandfather about, like, don't just watch for intruders on the ground. You also should keep your eyes to the sky. And the impression he got was that they were to be on the lookout for spellcasters who were coming to interfere with whatever they were working on.
Right.
The fact that it was the Great Sky Rings is confirmed by actually seeing these spinning rings rise above the walls of the facility, and whistling as they cut through the wind, cut through the air. They were a brilliant silver metal with intermittent pieces of absolute black along the edge. They got a sense of its destructive power when it was sent against a tree within the facility. And the rotation of the rings did not even pause as it just sliced through the tree.
Wow. Never mind weapon of war. You just deforest a whole grove. Need all these trees removed?
Beginning global warming is...
It's always weapons, right? It's all,
It
always starts with the...
I keep forgetting that global warming started with the Green Revolution. Like, the rise of agriculture is
right, yeah.
Europe
staying in one place and raising livestock,
and deforestation. Europe's lost is, I think, 99.5% of all of its forests, and all that stuff's in the air now. Not all of it, but the vast majority of it is in the air. It's crazy.
We should just go back to hunter-gatherer. It's much better.
That's right. So there were repeated rumors from the higher ups, like things you would overhear. The higher ups being concerned about about groups interested in destroying their work. And one such group were called the Scholars of Escorn, Eskorn. Apparently, all female. What the heck? There's a spider on my table. Well, that's not going to work, dude.
Intruders from below.
That's one of those hunting spiders, too. Yeah, gummit. There you go. Go hunt on the ground. Can't have you running around my dice. Say again?
Roll for initiative.
I just get yanked off screen. Send help! So, all female, at least 3 of them. This group is not much other news other than they're powerful, they're troublemakers. Another group is just referred to as the twins. That they would very much like to stop the work here.
Right.
There's no gender, no race, nothing else mentioned about them. So I should just hide this. This is not really helping anybody. I got to get a Word document that has more captions on it so I can swap these out more efficiently. It was a fairly well-paid gig, and he was there for more than a year. But the story is told sort of in context to his family's military career and sort of the interesting careers that they've had.
Right.
So sort of seems to be written as like a memoir to his family, to his children. And hey, here's a story about your great grandfather.
This is the weapon I helped develop.
Exactly, yeah. And so,
does it say under what officer, or like what group he served? Like the Axian. Does the Axia have a military? Right.
They do. Well, I mean, a lot of your, people forget, and a lot of fantasy stuff, right? That standing armies are a relatively new thing.
Yeah.
That what you would have is there would be laws, like England had a law that basically said if you made this much income, then you had to own a sword and at least a breastplate and a bow.
Right.
And then like the story in Robin Hood, right, where they go to the fair to have an archery contest.
Right.
And things like that. That was, yes, those were all contests and fun times for everybody, but they're also regular annual or quarterly training. So that when they needed to raise a standing army,
right, you
had some skills that were kept in good shape for any for a war that could pop up at any time. But you didn't keep large standing armies on the payroll. Okay. And so Theaxia is very much like that. You have some facilities, certainly castles, and although they don't have, Theaxia is one of the few nations that doesn't have royalty. They did away with their monarchy when they overthrew the elven rule. But they have, military facilities that have some, towers on the road, things like that.
Right.
But that's a very small number of men, probably 5,000 or something for a whole nation. But so Theaxia has an army, and this is certainly part of the Theaxian army. Or do we have a time? I forget the time, how the timetable for the Great Sky Rings. Do you have an age for them?
Let's check. Great Sky Rings. Developed Northern Theaxia, not originally intended as a weapon of war. Uh, Bayval tells me when the orcs were living in the desert before they were pushed into the mountains, reportedly a group of sorcerers were enslaved to craft the rings. That doesn't really line up with this story, though, so maybe that was... So it says sometime long after the era of the ancients.
Okay, so
I think we don't know generally. I have a couple references to this Great Sky Rings, and they all seem...
They do seem to conflict, although now you've got another vote that says
right.
dancing, because these are clearly humans. Um, so it's interesting. So it may be that they were seized from the orcs.
Oh, okay, yeah. Illyria is credited with their creation, the genius of Walbreck, which is a city that existed on the site of present-day Convergence. Again, no year, though. First demonstrated to the bird lords as the ancients. So that would be a couple thousand years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the Mannish bird peoples. So before Theaxia,
Yeah.
It's
So the reference, it's in Theaxia, present day Theaxia.
right.
And it's still very, it's an old Thax that you can still read, what you would call Thax, right? Just like, we have Middle English. They didn't call it Middle English back then. That's the name we've applied to it.
Right.
And so this would be even prior to Elvish control of the region.
Right.
So,
is there any mention then in this article about Illyria or Walbreck? In these passages, I should say.
They do mention enjoying leave in a nearby town, and yes, it is called Walbreck.
Okay.
There
we go.
No name of the really higher ups are mentioned.
Right.
His direct supervisor is mentioned by name, but that's still going to be relatively low. That'd be like a captain of the watch, probably.
Right.
There'd still be probably 2 or 3 ranks above that before you got to the top security officer. There's a reference to robed figures and spellcasters coming and going through the main gates, but not nothing by name. There is a mention that the orcs had something to do with the rings. In fact, there's a direct reference that the rings or their secrets were stolen from the orcs.
Okay. Yeah, so definitely a feels like a truthful account, but unfortunately doesn't give us many leads.
Right.
On where this thing was used or who was involved in its creation.
I remembered did you have a note or something that discussed it being like the testing ground for them was south of Convergence?
Yes, that's what Bayval told me off the top of her head. And then she says, I know there's a book that has, this explicit reference. So I should have mentioned that before, because it would make sense that everything she repeated would be in this passage, right? or at least
certainly,
some of what she said. Yeah.
right. Certainly, some of the reference of travel when it talks about going on leave,
Right.
it does say going north to Walbrook.
Right.
And so that still puts you well into the north of what is present day Theaxia. Um, um, yeah, so it still leaves you a sort of a scouring job. If I mean, just hunting down some sort of facility or remnant of a facility.
Right.
Um, it'd be interesting to know more about the twins um, and about
Escorn.
the scholars of Escorn, to see if they, because if you found records of their records, maybe did they have success destroying it? Did they have success locating it?
Mm-hmm.
If they destroyed it, and hey, your worry is over and your search is done.
Right.
I mean, I guess you could technically be worried that the secrets are still out there, the text that may reveal how to reconstruct them. That might be of concern, but that's sort of a distant problem given the other irons you've got in the fire.
Yeah.
So, well, seems
Okay.
like a good time to take a break.
Yeah.
So, guys, we're gonna run and stretch our legs and refill our drinks. So, if you'll just bear with us for a few moments, we'll be right back with you, and we'll see what else Brise is up to and what other sort of leads she needs to follow up on. So, give us just a few minutes. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Thanks for hanging out with us. Let's get Max back on here. There he is. I told you he wouldn't abandon us. And yeah, so we're doing research in the library at Lady Mia Graw's keep. Whoa, I just did something really interesting. I don't know how to undo that. Huh.
You went live?
Weird. Is it a three-finger thing? What the heck? I just zoomed way in on my web page. Wow.
Oh, you're on a Mac, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what is that key? I forget what it is because I do it on my work laptop too. It might be a trackpad thing. Like, try doing that.
There you go. Thank you. Wow. I don't know. I've never done that before.
Yeah. Sometimes you just brush against the trackpad and then you want to zoom in 100 times.
Yeah, right.
Of course.
If you want to see the individual cells of a web page, the
Enhance.
micro. Yeah. So doing research on the Great Sky Rings, and you've learned a bit. Is it worth setting Bayval on researching the Scholars of Escorn?
Yeah, can't hurt, right? Just ask her if she knows of any texts on it. I'll definitely help her out with a few gold pieces.
Doesn't ring a bell. She will look through texts that might reference various scholars and spellcasters of that era, which you're guessing to be around 2,000 years ago is your ballpark. She does mention that one of the libraries in Gorb, one of the major goblin cities, there was a library there that really specialized in that era, and you might have more luck.
Yeah, I guess in the era of the Great Sky Rings. As soon as I come back from break, the cast just decided to
go
everything up. Thanks for waiting, guys. Couple millennia.
Wow, I'm wrong. Pleston is southwest of where you are.
Oh. Who created this world again?
I don't know, but sounds like he's a great guy.
With a name like Pleston.
That's right. It has been 30 years. I'm so out of date. God, it's been longer than 30 years. It's been 35 years since I created this world. The librarian that she knows that works there, her contact, that's the wrong button. Is an older female goblin. Named Taxala, Taxalla. Sort of average looking. Not much really that stands out about her. Looking at her things, she has wears her hair very long. Um, Dresses in very nice robes. Um, but she's
She always wears this Black Panther costume. I don't know why she's on.
that's right.
Oh, sorry.
But Texala is works at the Library of the Falls, and they have
The Library of the Falls.
so hopefully asking around. It's a fairly prominent library, part of the Queen's libraries that are scattered around Gorb. Um, and usually it's very difficult to get in, particularly given that you're a human. It may be really difficult to get in, but asking to speak to Taxala should open some doors, and mentioning Lady Meagral should open some doors.
Right. Okay. That is good advice. Add that to my goals, visiting the Library of the Falls.
And Gorb is to the northeast. It's on the eastern edge of the mountains. In fact, it's due west of the Lake Triumphs. So, what's next on your agenda?
That's all I could take care of at the keep. I do want to keep my eyes to the sky when I see Rhea the eagle. Or I guess I could go and meet her now. I could go outside of the keep and, start a fire. Maybe try to signal her before she starts hovering over the keep.
Sort of intercept her in a sense.
Right. So sundown was going to meet her. I'm assuming it's late afternoon.
Yeah, you've been here for a bit, so you may be a bit late.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll walk outside and start making my way towards the gates of the keep. Just say I'll be back in a little while.
Do you plan on going to the town? Do you need to grab town gear?
No, I think I'm just going to return back to the keep.
Okay.
Conversing with Rhea.
You could have your horse saddled and make better time.
Oh yeah. Okay, might as well. I do like riding my horse. Sometimes I forget I have a horse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, once you start teleporting a lot, it becomes more difficult to deal with the horse.
Right.
So, you
might just have a horse in every town, every major city.
Right.
It can't cost that much to keep 10 horses for a month.
Maybe slip the guy a bronze to get your horse faster.
Mm-hmm.
And saddled up, out you ride. How far down toward Ballery do you want to go?
Basically where I met her last.
Okay.
Which was I remember I my typical teleport spot, and then further down the road. So just find a similar location.
I'm going to have you also request a lantern because it's going to be dark by the time you ride back up.
I've got my floating lantern.
You've got your floating, but you wouldn't carry it with you to the library.
That's fair, yeah. If I'm going from the library to there, yeah, I'll ask for a lantern.
Right. So off you go.
Who takes their floating lantern to the library anyway?
That's right. It helps me read. It just
Says on the side, no floating lanterns allowed.
fire hazard. Can't have that thing just wandering the stacks. Yeah, Rhea is starting to get noticed in the sky. But you have clearly been noticed from the air. Rhea begins tracking you. She swings behind the mountain out of sight of the goblins. And by the time you reach the spot, she is already there. Okay. You've already had to light your lantern. It's already dark. She gives you that great stately bow. What are you reporting on for her? I forget.
So this eshel in the valley, the eagles were going to attack it, but I've come to tell them that there's no need. They should. They wouldn't even be able to harm it anyhow.
Roll for me.
30.
Okay. What word do you have for us and my uncle? She asked.
So I asked Lady Fraldrum, skilled in the arts of magic and creatures, about the snake creature that was spotted in the valley, and she says it is best left alone. It shouldn't cause any harm to your peoples or to the valley as a whole. It's simply a spirit creature that is hunting for food.
But we are right to say it is unnatural.
This is true.
Why should we not destroy it then?
The only thing that can harm it is, described magic items, right? Like items, created very special items, or what was the other type of magic that could harm it?
I think she told you that temple magic had no effect, right?
Temple magic is no effect. Literally magical items. So I say only very special items are capable of harming it. You would not be able to damage it at all. You would just be endangering yourself.
My uncle will not be pleased that there is something that can withstand an eagle's talons. But I will pass the counsel to him. Is there anything else you need from her?
I'll ask her if she has seen any of So I know they stay away from Crom's Mountain, but I ask about if there's been any activity of the giants besides those belonging to Lady Crom. I know there's been another tribe of giants present in the valleys around this area sometime recently. That's something you've noticed.
My brothers have tracked such a group to mountains to the northeast. There they have great herds of their giant sheep. They seem to know little of magical arts, for there we fly without fear.
Hmm.
Lady Crom's knowledge, of course, is far in excess of that, making any flight dangerous near her residence. There we go.
That is good to know.
There is a great owl that lives near those ranges.
Hmm.
We have little dealings with her. She is a solitary and disagreeable creature. But if the giants are on the move, particularly those to the northeast, Neurotus would know.
Neurotus.
Neurottis.
She's great and very knowledgeable, but goddamn, she's always worried about every little thing.
That's right.
Not neurotic.
She's always looking over her shoulder. Huh?
That's good. That's good.
Have you seen those photos? She didn't give a hoot. She have you seen those photos that, I don't know, they went around the internet, I don't know, about 6 months ago, that was showing the skeleton of an owl and just all their vertebra, and like their necks are so long and skinny.
Yeah.
And it allows all that enormous 350-degree rotation or whatever it is.
The joints don't constrain them at all.
Yeah. So
whereas me, whenever I do this, it hurts.
exactly. Wait till you be my age and you're like, oh man, that sneeze was a mistake. Damn it.
Ooh, getting out of bed, that was a real bad move.
I'm doing physical therapy for this fucking shoulder that just started hurting. And
Sucks.
I can't scratch my back very well. And it's like, they're like, what, did you fall? I'm like, no, it just started hurting. So I've got physical therapy tomorrow.
Bad bones.
Bad bones. That's, yeah. My whole foundation is wrecked.
Great howl in that region. All right. Hey, Quinn. Agreed.
Oh, he's showed up, did he?
Fashionably late, as usual.
That's right. Fashionably.
You haven't missed much, so that's all right.
That's right.
The whole keep is in flames. Brise is dead. I'm playing a new character. So.
That's right. That's, called Grief. That's the. You have a short little brother named Brief.
Yeah. That's the joke about. There's a really good skit. It's by Viva La Dirt League, where it's like your character dies like in the first session, right? So it's like, you don't have another character prepared. So it's like, my twin brother shows up who has the exact same stats as me, and the same name but one letter off. I'll take his place.
That's right. Yeah. Me and a friend, we would cake and ice cream. That's a no-brainer. Me and my friend Allison, we would do this idiotic joke. We're like, yes, I graduated from the University of Florida. We would just, like it was like this code.
Orange.
That's right. And we would just keep going on and on with it, like we were being very clever, hiding, our history. And we would just, oh God, it was so stupid. We just laugh our asses off. Um, with the bladers. Um, yeah, how to get in touch with Neurotis is
Right.
unless you're gonna pitch the Eagles approaching Neurotis on your behalf. I guess you're stuck with talking to Fraudrum and see if they know anything about it.
Right. I mean, I'll ask Rhea if the growing threat of Lady Crom is very real indeed. If Neurotis could be an ally and could have information on this other tribe, that would be valuable. So I don't know. Approaching her.
Lord Korakyle despises the old owl. But if I find him in a better mood someday, I will raise the point with him. He is fond of me, but I can't promise anything.
Okay. Why can I not spell Korakyle? There.
It's one of the names I'm fond of. I like Korakyle.
Yeah. It sounds like a great eagle name.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's all I have for her. So I'll let her be on her merry way. I will return to the cozy comforts of the keep.
She bows to you. You bow back. And she launches herself into the air. Stays low over the valley, away from Balabry, and swinging around away from the keep. And off she goes. It's past supper time when you get back. You head to your chambers. Shirkal has the door open to hers. She rises you to meet her at her door. She tells you that it's time for her to go, and so tomorrow morning, she'll be leaving to go and make her apologies to her employer. Her
third failed attempt to infiltrate the mines.
Yeah.
I wish her good luck, and I just condolences again. Like, this is a difficult task.
Yeah, it's a tough nut.
It's a difficult task, and this is beyond that even.
What we should do, it hasn't occurred to me until now, but like one of these things where it's like, it's just beyond us right now. Like, we should roll to see how it sticks with you. You know what I mean? And
we kind of discussed it last session a little bit, where we kind of rolled that. I don't know if we even rolled it, but Brise was just, I think she has nothing really pointing her towards like moral, no strong moral leaning. So she's almost more pragmatic. Like, if it seems like this will get me killed to save 12 people, versus.
Oh, I'm saying it's like the case that the detectives never solve. Right.
Oh, I see. Right. Does it kind of is something I remember
does it haunt you?
Yeah.
Such that when you're level like 35, and you're like, you know what? I'm tired of having that on my mind. Let's reinvestigate getting them out of there. So let's do that. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Why don't you roll for me?
So lower meaning doesn't stick with me as much.
Right. And I'm not really concerned with any roll below 90, honestly.
9. There you go.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where, obviously if there's an opportunity, you'll consider it, but it's not something you're going to dwell on.
Right. It's funny. 9 feels like it's so close to 100.
Yeah.
in one digit.
You know, I was telling you, I was watching like some true crime documentaries during my insomnia and so on. I was watching this one about the New York Zodiac serial killer. There was one in California first, and then there was one in New York. And the crazy way that he got caught was not because of really any investigation, um, but because he got involved in another crime, holding his sister and sister's boyfriend hostage in his apartment. And there was a standoff with the police, and the negotiator got him to surrender. And when they searched his apartment, they found notes that he had written, and they were the exact handwriting of the serial killer.
Wow.
And so it's like crazy. It's like you could have gotten away with it if you could have constrained your temper and not held your sister hostage, right? Because they were not near catching him, not at all. And it
kind of flies in the face of the stereotype of like the cold and calculated, never makes a mistake. Like, very emotional.
And he just lost control, and then his so fortunately his he killed 3 and he almost killed 9, but 6 of his victims survived. So, and he was using a zip gun, which is a homemade gun, so there's no rifling in the barrel to do ballistics on. It's a smooth barrel, so you can't track the gun down.
Oh, I see.
So he was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was just crazy that's what got him caught, was, as you said, just being out of control.
Right.
So, but anyway, sorry. But it was just the detectives, the haunting them, because he would go dormant for like a couple of years, and they're like, where is he? What is he doing? But Quinn's going to set us up with a new rating scale. I think I might be interested in. Interesting, Quinn.
Rating for what? Our attractiveness.
I mean, I'm a 170. So is Max.
No, 170 out of 170.
That's right. 170 out of 1,000.
Oh man. every Wednesday we get a little more attractive.
That's right. All right. So just roll me a basic navigation kind of safety roll, making it back up to the mountain at night.
Well, I'm already talking with Sheer Call, right?
Oh, that's right. You already are. Right. My bad. So talking there. Sorry, I lost
track.
I
was
my own divergent, my own rabbit hole derailed conversation.
Right.
So she says
face with the Zodiac killer. Oh,
that's right. So she says that she'll tap on your door in the morning if it's evident you're not up, and take leave from you again. But if she doesn't see you, she appreciates all you've done. So, shake hands, part ways, order some supper. Is there anything else you need to accomplish tonight?
No, I'll treat for my tome.
Okay. Roll for me.
Interest law. 62.
All right. All righty. Solid hour there. Go to bed early, just doze away.
Fantastic.
Let's do your 3 rolls for the 22nd.
We got a 52.
Nice.
A 40. And an 8.
So wake, feeling a little congested, but it's mid-morning, which is a luxurious time for a sunrise-oriented person to get up. You realize you must have missed Sheer Call and missed her knock at the door. But
Yeah.
you felt good about
I
how
was
you
like,
left.
I think every time I've been with Sheer Call, I've woken up way after her.
Yeah.
She's like, what is with this?
That's right. It's the exhaustion. Twist. And I don't know what a Likert scale. I don't know a Likert scale. Do you know a Likert scale, Max?
I hardly even know her.
That's it, right.
I do not know. Quinn, you'll have to pull up the Quinnipedia to
Yeah, that's right.
to educate us.
That's right. I do like the Quinnipedia. I like that a lot. We'll formalize that when we get if we get a ton of viewers or whatever, start doing merchandise.
Yeah.
We'll do like Karandrin and like sayings of ours, and we'll be open up the Quinnipedia.
Or if we ever have to moderate and ban people, they're like, oh, you got the Quinnipedia ban and new entry in the banned list in the Quinnipedia.
That's right. Blacklisted by the Quinnipedia.
No, Likert scale is a classic 5-point. Strongly disagree to strongly agree.
I got you. I may already do that essentially using Rollmaster's stat scale, Quinn. So take a look at the stat scale on Rollmaster. You know it probably, but see how you think it compares, because they do an artificial bell curve,
right,
in the system, and so see what you think about that. So. So yeah, it's another relaxing day. You are feeling a little, like, all right, maybe might be time to start making plans.
Yeah.
So you know what, you would have gotten possibly a report.
Yeah, I guess one of the only other kind of gaps we have in our knowledge is where to find the 9-fingered candle.
Right.
Because we know about potentially its operation, right? But that won't guarantee leads us to the artifact.
Right.
So we either need information on tracking Volshad or information on the artifact itself.
Right. Yeah, on its history and where it might have been kept and so on. Yeah. There was and I forget his name, but the dwarven sorcerer that you guys were concerned with, who's now resides in southern Theaxia.
Yes. I forget his name, but he seemed pretty difficult to reach.
Right. But he seemed very knowledgeable. I mean, even if it's a guarded, he has patrols out, is the belief, and that sort of thing. Well, you can still present yourself to the patrols. Like, don't try to sneak in. You present yourself to the patrols, allow yourself to be discovered, and say, I'm seeking an audience.
Right.
So keep
have
that
information on something that you would find valuable.
Right.
Let me see if I can find that person's name. I know Gandasir mentioned him.
Right.
So Gandasir, conversation with her. Blah, 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 blah.
It is a game of copious notes.
Copious names. That's the problem I have. Wait, what? Was it Gandasir who told me?
Yeah.
Arsenic was last saw it. Dishal. Dwarven sorcerer from Gordovan. Okay. Currently resides in the southern end of Theaxia near the city of pirates. The locals speak well of him. Seems to keep to himself. So.
Right. But he must do like sort of like Holver and Volshad have done. That must ingratiate himself to the locals, to keep up goodwill. And he may just be a decent person.
Right. Well,
So,
Gandassir said he comes off as nasty and selfish, so
right.
I don't know. I only have secondhand accounts, but it might be time to actually just go find Oshekra's contact in town.
Mm,
Maybe try some information or ask for some information about some of these topics
right.
in agreement to pursue looking for the blue vein.
Right. All right. Well, um, so dine and bathe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you are a little concerned that there's no note from Fraudrum regarding the
Regarding Ivar.
right and tracking him and so on. Where
Okay.
the hell is Fraudrum on here? There we go. You know, what happened to the apprentices and the attempt to track them down, because it's mid-morning now. You would expect to have answers. I
Right.
guess. I mean, I guess it could be a couple more hours, because it does take a couple hours to get into town down off the mountain to the valley.
Mm-hmm.
And so only, I guess, right about now should you expect any information. So maybe you sort of take your time getting ready and wait on that report before you journey yourself into town and take you out of.
Yeah, I'm looking. I think Baranth says to meet in the evening anyway, so I can spend first half the day just in the keep,
Right.
relaxing, and then we'll go into town in after lunch.
You can also, just ask around about best way to get to Pleston.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, so food is exceptionally good. Like really crazy 280 something.
What are they cooking in the kitchens today?
It's these cream laden pastries. Um, Lots of butter and cinnamon.
Cream laden.
Yeah, you pass it on to the chef. That just needs to become a part of the daily staple.
This will henceforth be known as the Brise breakfast.
That's right. That's right. It's a brisket. Uh,
Brisket.
so,
Yeah, Quinn, we can check that out. So he's a new stats scale, AI assisted stat scale.
neat.
So
That's what I should roll. I should roll when we get word. So while you're in the bath, this will be late morning. One of the servants comes and tells you that one of the lady Fraudrum's apprentice named Chorus wishes to speak with you at your earliest convenience.
okay.
Do you want to have him wait? I say him. I should roll. It is him. Should you want him to wait in your quarters?
Yeah. Just allow me to finish bathing and get dressed, and we can have a chat.
Gonna meet a new apprentice.
Yeah. Quinn points out that brisket is actually what the giants will be eating. 24-hour roasted brise.
That's fantastic. That's really good. Um,
Nice and tender.
so you should have hurried your bath, get out and dress. And you find Chorus waiting for you. Good Lord, is he tall? How tall is that dude? Holy crap. 141. It's been a while since I just looked someone's height up just for kicks.
He's on Mia Grall's basketball team.
He is. Man, where's this height chart in here? There we go. No. Hey, come on. It should be right around here. Come on. What is going on? Why can I not find this height chart? There it is. It was marked. Yeah, the dude is 6'5".
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, no kidding.
I've seen him around then.
Looming over, catching eagles. Oh my God, he is
going to take the stairs. I just reach up and grab the window and pull myself to the second floor.
Right. Lean, gaunt. Red hair, close cropped, beard down to his chest, dressed in fairly plain but very high quality robes.
What's his race?
Human.
Human.
Human male. There's a wand tucked into his belt. It's sort of a silvery blue wood tipped with a black stone. He is strikingly unattractive. The beard is trying to cover that. Just a very close set eyes, large nose. Why does this thing always do this? He is sitting by your fire when you return. He stands. Does he? Let's see. He stands, bows deeply to you, and has sort of a dour expression on his face. He greets you, calls you my lady, and says that he has been sent by his master to update you on the events last night.
Okay.
He hired 3 adventurers to trail the traitor Ivar. he, of course, is. Um, he says, "I am, of course, too noticeable to be much use in that."
Now, what are you talking about?
Right.
You're beautiful.
Exactly. Just roll for your take on this guy.
Oh, sure, yeah. 44.
Interesting guy. You get a sense of sort of sorrow and kind of a weird ruthlessness about him. Um, he said the adventurers were not spotted. They had very good luck. They tracked him to another contact. That contact reported to an adventurer in a bar. The adventurer, they lost track of him, and their suspicion is that this male orc that they were tracking, the way that he just disappeared around a corner certainly suggests teleport. Let's see. The orc was very young, seemed a little out of his depth, which means that he either used a scroll or the teleport was very nearby. They then inquired at the Adventuring Guild. He has been in before. His name is Chanrook, Chanrrook, 1R. Sorry.
Okay.
Confirmed that he was very new to adventuring. Was hired, had met with a person meeting the description of the person that you saw Ivar meet with.
Okay.
No, printers for it's the wrong thing. I like Chanrook. I like that name.
Well, too bad he's going down.
I know.
He was probably just hired as a middleman too.
Right. But being so young and inexperienced, could be maybe coerced.
Yeah. I hear you're new to adventuring. How does one mithril sound if you
That's right.
tell me everything you know.
Yeah. How does one dagger inside of you sound? Um,
And a mithril.
that's right. That's right. And a mithril. Um,
Just like
so,
tear open there's like a gash in him, put the mithril in, and then pour a healing potion on him. And he's like, oh.
right. Did you sterilize that coin? Um, so, Fraldrum said not to worry about Chanruk. They're going to try to keep a watch on him,
Okay.
and they may just decide on their own to scoop him up and push him for answers. Especially if they decide to get um, the um, the castle temples, the keeps temples paladins involved, and kind of bring the weight of religion into it, scoop him up, and then say, you're in with a bad crowd, and this is not, you're in serious trouble. And so, they can put a wizard's knot on his hands, and then he'll have a hell of a time trying to cast spells. So, is there anything you want to ask him before we kind of wrap up?
Yeah, if your adventurers could also be on the lookout for, the staff member that Chanruk was reporting to. I'm assuming he's appearing around town frequently. If we could find where he's going to, would also be a useful information if they can split the resources that way.
I will certainly pass it on. I won't have final say in the matter, but I will pass it on.
Okay. Thank you. Ooh, excuse me.
It's getting about that time. Anything else? Should we have him take his leave and then?
I think so.
All right.
Yeah. So we'll let him handle that. It's good that it's out of my hands.
Yeah. Something you've at least foisted off so you can concentrate on other matters.
Right. I guess I will ask, did Ivar mention anything about, did you catch if Ivar mentioned anything about where he's going to be in town? He's staying in town. Because I'm planning to go into town. It would be good to steer clear of where he might be.
Small cottage he's renting. It's near one of the streams.
Okay.
It's fairly nondescript. There's no real way for him to warn you other than to say, let's do some basic coordinates. You basically can spot it south. That's central. So it's on the far side of town from where the Keeps Road enters Ballabry. So it would be, the keep is to the north of town. And so he's right off that very first stream that you would cross with a bridge.
Right.
So he would be as you crossed, he would be far down that stream to the right.
Mm-hmm.
So further east.
Okay. East of when I enter town, coming away from the keep.
Coming from the keep.
Coming from the keep, yeah. Okay. Good to know.
All right. So takes his leave, gives you another very deep bow, and he takes his leave. It is we're going to call it right at noon, but you've already kind of eaten the late breakfast, so
Right.
We'll just sort of make a note of that. To remind everybody, we're not streaming next week. We've got company in town, and so we'll be skipping that. We'll be back the week after, and so we certainly hope to see you then. If you think we're doing a good job, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you think we're doing a great job, then hey, send us a little love through Donor Box. You see the link right there. Speaking of links, there's a link right there to Max on YouTube for his own channel where he discusses the role of music and original soundtracks in video games. He does a really good job. I really recommend you go check him out. Thanks as always to Elliot Dunovitz for their terrific character art they do for Brise. We use it almost every session when we're not running around a map. And I've written a novel. Oh, sorry. And you can see more of Elliot's work at artstation.com/Tortolua.
Man,
But
can't wait to get to his book.
I just harp on my book. And better than all of that is no.
Better than art or YouTube videos.
That's right.
Classic.
But a mediocre offering I have is a book that I am somewhat proud of called A Shore Too Far. It's a fantasy novel you can find on Amazon. So thanks,
and
everyone.
It's not a mediocre book.
Well, it's very kind of you.
Fairly decent.
Fairly decent. That's a high praise.
It's an acceptable book. You won't have an aneurysm reading it. I'll tell you.
Which is unfortunate because that was my goal, was to give people aneurysms. So now that that's out of the way, yes, I gotta aim higher for my literary goals. But Max, why don't you say goodbye to the lovely people?
Yeah, so we'll see you in 2 weeks to meet with Baranth and maybe get a new little adventure going for Brise.
Yeah,
going to South Convergence. So.
Yeah, or Pleston, right?
I don't remember where was the Blue Vein. I thought that was in Convergence.
Oh, that's right.
We might also be going to Pleston. Who knows?
That's true. That's right. That's the Fae, right? Sorry. Well, goodbye, everybody, and thank you for allowing me to confuse you in the last few minutes of the stream. So we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Have a great night.